The following segment is brought to you by Rabbi Yehuda Shain, the administrator of Kashrus Anytime, which is a division of the Kosher Consumers Union, a 501c3 organization. A number of years ago, we used to have what was called the B'nai Torah Kashrus letter. We discontinued that already a number of years for various different reasons. But when we did have it, others had, everybody had their comments about it, just like they have their comments about the podcasts. And as I was by Bris in Tervadas, Rosh Hashiva that also came to attend the Bris, saw me there, and he asked me that he'd like to have a discussion with me and Rav Palm, the Rosh Hashiva of Avram Palm. I went over with him to Rav Palm, and he told Rav Palm that he puts out a so-called B'nai Torah Kashrus letter, and he attacks and this and that, etc., etc. Medafim Zogan, he's got to stop. So Rav Palm said, I got to read through the letter every single time I get it. I find it to be very, very informative, and I think it's very important for Klal Yisrael to be aware of what's really going on in Kashrus. So that Rosh Hashiva says, yeah, but you have to understand that, how he comes across and so strong and everything else like it. Is, you mean that you're addressing the Divrei Chama Benachas Nishman? So he says, Rabbi Shain, what you should do in order to cover that is the last paragraph, just tone it down a little bit, so you'll also be able to have the Divrei Chama Benachas Nishman. I said, fine. Then the Rosh Hashiva says, but Mehechatesi knows what he's talking about. So Rav Palm didn't respond to that, and he turns to me and says, Rabbi Shain, the Rebbetzin and me have a number of questions regarding kashrus on products and chicken and other kind of things. Do you think you could stop by us by the house to address some of these issues? I say, color covered. When does Yeshiva want me to come? So he says Thursday 8 o'clock would be a good time, which I've gone down there. We went through a number of the issues, and I told the Rebbetzin, I'm not going to give any psakim. I will give you the facts, and the Yeshiva makes the psakim. She says, fine. And after we finished, the Yeshiva asked me, I was there for about a little bit better than an hour, that he'll let me know another time he feels that there's more time needed if I could come back a second time, and I came back a second time, and we had a nice discussion about the things, clarified a lot of issues that he had questions on. A number of years later, after the Yeshiva was nifter, the Rebbetzin had some sort of surgery on her foot, and she was in a senior citizen recuperating place over here in Lakewood. So me and my Rebbetzin decided we're going to go visit her. So we go to visit, and the Rebbetzin was sitting on a chair, and she had a walker in front of her, and she matted very, very much to stand up when we came in. So my wife told the Rebbetzin, you have to stand up and remain seated. So she says, let me tell you something. I don't know who that man is that you just walked in with, but he may be your husband, but I have to tell you that I'm standing up for him because the Rosh Hashiva had tremendous respect for that person. So I came close and I said, what was the incident with the respect? She says, I don't know, but I know you were in the house a few times, and the Yeshiva had tremendous respect. So I reminded her a little bit of what the issues was with Kashrus. She just could be she doesn't really recall what it was, but she knows that, and that's why she was standing up. We'd like to address now some of the issues regarding Lakewood Kashrus. There's basically one main hashgacha here in Lakewood called the KCL, Kosher Council of Lakewood, or whatever you want to call it. It was set up by the yeshiva, really as a political organization, not a kashrus organization. What happened was there was somebody else, a different rav, that opened up a kashrus organization, which didn't get along too well with the Anhola over here. So they notified one of the Askana, and we have to have within a week set up a kashrus organization. So they went and set up a kashrus organization within a week, whatever it was. It says, I've said before already, that not the Kashrus had very interesting uptights on many things. He said an organization that's set up for illegitimate purposes can only produce an illegitimate. So we'll go through a few of the things over here, what it is, and the Tzibur Nebuch has nobody else to rely on because this is what they have over here. And they're extremely upset, but they're at a loss what to do because there is the backing from the Anhola. But the fact is the army marches on its stomach, So that's what it is. So we'll go through some of the attributes of the KCL, which I'll call that. There was a very recent incident. I mean, now was basically July 31st, but there was a very recent incident of infested cherries, jar cherries. The kosher certifiers put out an alert 2 weeks later on July 18th, 2019, which is basically just about 2 weeks ago. The KCL was aware of it, of this infestation, a full 2 weeks or more before the public announcement came out, but they refused to notify anyone, even when asked. I've asked, others have asked, do you know of any problem with cherries? People have said, they were in a cup, this and that. They felt it's important. They must have had some sort of under the table deal with the distributor or the Rav Machshir or whatever else. There was a Hamish Ashgacha and they also. So basically, there was some underhanded things, but they felt that there's nothing wrong that they know don't notify the tzibur, even though they know and they've seen that the thing is infested. Okay, they do have, which it was found a number of times on parties that are certified by the KCL, that there was non-negotiable wines there at the parties, there was non-religious people at the party, there was non-Jewish waiters there was non-Jewish guests there, but the army marches on its stomach. There was an Exxon gas station that had a kosher concession. The Exxon non-Jewish employees had access to make sandwiches after hours, and they had access to the KCL kosher tape. I have pictures of them cutting off part of a submarine sandwich with a treif knife, then sealing back the sandwich with the kosher tape, all after hours. When I sent the Balabas and he notified the KCL about this, the KCL notified me that if I publicize this fact and I publicize the pictures, they're going to have Exxon sue me for damaging their reputation. That's the way they handle Kashrus. At Gourmet Galat and other KCL certified establishments, the employees have full access to the kosher sealing tape. So, in practical application, it's not a chosim at all if the goyim have access to it. We know of a non-religious high-end caterer who buys at Gourmet Galat non-checked fruits and vegetables and tells the client that everything was checked. As you can see, it was sealed by the mashgiach with the KCL kosher tape. I told Ashgacha, but they continued to leave in full access to the goyim with the KCL tape. They have as much as they need. They allow takeout stores to rent out their crockpots, utensils for Shabbos to anyone and everyone. Whatever they're going to put in there, whatever else it is KCL approved, not KCL approved, but no problem. Their Shabbos and Yom Tov Mashgichim are not all necessarily Shemer Shabbos. Some of them are known as Shikurim and druggies as well. The waiters, the non-Jewish waiters or other waiters fill up the urns on Shabbos morning and do other malachas on Shabbos. The KCL doesn't take any responsibility for Yasham, and even wrote in the Yasham book that the Lakewood people aren't makbid on Yasham. That's why they don't take care of Yasham. By the way, Lakewood people are assuming that KCL is taking care of Yasham. And when I spoke to the one that published the book, Rabbi Herman al-Vashalom, he told me that he sells more books and has more questions of people in Lakewood than any other place in the world. How could KCL say that Lakewood people are makbid on Yasham? But that's what it is. In order not to take any responsibility to do anything, just they run it, basically like the mafia. Protection money. Lately, the KCL writes in the Yasham book that the flour is Yasham, but they don't take responsibility. So how do you know it's Yasham? The KCL allows stores to sell raspberries, blackberries, and fruits and veggies that require checking by posting a disclaimer sign in the store that these items require bedikas. There is nobody that could check raspberries. Nobody that could check blackberries. Take a look in the OU and the other ones. They write that you can't have it dried, frozen, or anything else because it's an impossibility to check. But they feel that the disclaimer basically is all fine and vital. We all know blackberries, raspberries, and figs and raisins cannot be checked. All reliable kosher certified do not allow their use, but KCL does. The KCL demands steep bakshish from meat purveyors to improve products to be sold in Lakewood. Such as Rosenblatt meat purveyor was asked by the KCL for $5,000 a month to allow Rosenblatt to sell pre-packs in Lakewood. But if Rosenblatt wants to sell to food service, to restaurants and caterers as well, the monthly fee is higher. And this is all besides the expenses that it's going to be for them to go down and check out the place as often as they want to go. But that's the way it is. Bakshish. A caterer was afraid that he was caught being Mechal Shabbos when he was short on some products. Motzei Shabbos, he went to the KCL administrator and told him, "Hey, I fouled up on something on Shabbos. It was an error. Here's your son's bar mitzvah present." Now he was sure the KCL administrator will forgive him, and he never heard another word about it from them. Some stores may sell certain products while others can't, depending on the financial arrangements made in advance with the KCL. There are approximately 100 establishments under the KCL, maybe perhaps more than that. There are a total of 2.5 part-time mashgiachim assigned to check all of the 100 KCL certified facilities. The main mashgiach also works for one of the largest supermarkets, so he doesn't have much time either to check. The administrator himself does not check any of the facilities. It's below his dignity. They also give hashgacha in people's that they cook in their own houses, etc., etc. Question is how do they have access to go in, but that's for another time. The rabbinical board has never visited any of the certified facilities. Okay, very responsible. All of the food service places love the KCL hashgacha setup, as they could do, and they do use anything and everything that they want, as they'll never get caught. Just make sure to pay your dues on time. That's what all of them say. You pay your dues on time, you'll never hear from them. Everything will be just fine and dandy. By the KCL, what's called a Shabbos drop-off, even in a shul or hall, does not require mashgiach, which is a $400 savings to the Baal Simcha. The KCL caterer does have some of his utensils at the drop-off job, no mashgiach. The caterer makes you use his own waiters. He makes a few $100s on that. The caterer's waiters will make sure to take care for their boss. If the fire goes out, or it's too high or too low, they'll adjust it. Or if the urn needs adjusting or water added, they'll take care of it. As they say, it's Yontif and Tavachim when you have a KCL hashgacha. What's about the Bossish and the Salmon, among other issues? Well, that's when you're eating from KCL, that's part of it that you have to be careful of. It's not going to help you being careful. Who controls the caterer's hotbox? Who has the key to the locked hotbox? You guessed it, the guy. Who checks his other equipment? The party planners are putting their items in the warmer and the oven, and the guy will put in his food to heat up just as well. Defining a drop-off. Any other reliable hashgacha will only allow drop-off in a person's house, but not in a shul or a hall, and no caterer's utensil may be used, only disposables. The KCL is the lowest standard of these issues, if you want to call it a standard. Regarding KCL pizza or other items requiring mechosim, be aware that the delivery goyim all have rolls of kosher tape in their cars, and they put it on when they arrive at the destination. They take the box of the pizza, put it into the car. What they do, nobody knows. But before they go into the person's house, they take the roll of tape, put on some tape on it, and it's blessed. The other day at a Suda for a bris, KCL caterer set up a full milchik spread, cream cheese, milk, everything. The waiters also put down on tables cold cut platters made from fleischiks. Until someone told the waiters these tables are dairy, you can't put meat platters. The waiters removed them and said, "I'm sorry," and put them on the milchik coffee station instead. All under the KCL. The Baal Simcha provided the platters, not the caterer. The caterer's waiters did not know how to deal with this type of situation. This is so common that a Kashrus certifier should have in place guidelines for this type of scenario. No, it's not acceptable to cover yourself with a disclaimer. We don't allow any family or friends to bring in anything, as it's a Sudas mitzvah. An arrangement must be made to accommodate the obvious. KCL administration policies include doing inspections on Fridays so the mashgiach can take food home for Shabbos on the house. Till one takeout owner said, "Please, I'll give you 10% off, but not for free. This is totally unethical." To be continued at another date. Thank you and kol tov.